Somewhere between loving others well and surviving what life handed you, you can wake up and realize you're no longer there. Not because you didn't matter, but because everything in you went into caring for everyone else. Welcome to Mental Elevation in Action. I am your host, Dr. Juanita Britt McDonald, founder of this podcast and the Rediscover Me initiative. This is a space where we don't just talk about trauma, we honor what people have lived through and we make room for healing without pressure. In recognition of Autism Awareness Month, today's conversation centers around a journey many women quietly carry: the weight of caregiving, the impact of autism in the family, and the parts of themselves they may have had to lay down along the way. Our guest, Dr. Sonya Wilson-Bailey, is not just an advocate, she's a mother, a caregiver, and a woman who has had to navigate life, loss, responsibility, and identity all at once. And today, we're not here to fix her story. We're here to witness it. Join me in welcoming Dr. Sonya Wilson-Bailey to the stage. Dr. Bailey, hello, how are you? I was about to say good morning, but how are you?
I'm doing great, Dr. Juanita. How are you today, darling?
All is well. I am so excited to have you here. I know that we have a lot to talk about, but the biggest thing is you are taking off and you are flying and you're doing some amazing things in the autism world. Tell me a little bit about that.
Thank you, Dr. Juanita, first for inviting me to your show today. I'm super excited to be here. My name is Dr. Sonya Wilson-Bailey, and I'm excited to be here. And the things that the Lord is allowing me to do in the autism journey just did not start yesterday, last week, last month, last year. I have been in the arena for over 25 years. I started working in the special needs arena as a young adult. I want to say I was in my early 20s, worked for a facility here in the region, Coastal Center, worked for several disability boards, the school district here. So my journey started at a very early age, before I even gave birth to my son. So it's been an ongoing journey, not even knowing that God was going to prepare me for what I'm doing now. So it's been going ongoing for about 2 decades plus, but I'm here now and moving forward.
First of all, as you were breaking that down, I just kept saying subject matter expert. You're not just walking in this space of, like some of us, we went to school or we took some classes and got certified. You have literally been embedded in all of this.
Yes,
would you say?
Yes, ma'am. And not only that, I've worked in several different facets of it: transportation, teacher assistant, support staff. So I've had various different facets of being with special needs adults and children. Group home support staff, actually cooking for them, working on enclaves with them. So it's not just one particular thing, providing special needs transportation for special needs adults and children, as a driver with a support staff on the vehicle with me. Matter of fact, three of my assistants that used to be on the bus with me, I still have a relationship with those three individuals to this day. So, uh,
Mhm.
didn't even realize what God was even preparing me for even back then. So just like I said, over 25 plus years. So I just, when I think back over the journey, Dr. Juanita, I just give God the glory because he was even equipping me then for what I'm doing now.
Dr. Bailey, you mentioned that you started this journey way before Joseph
Uh-huh.
was delivered.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
I want to go back to that and ask you to tell us the moment when Joseph was diagnosed with
Uh-huh.
autism. What do you remember feeling? And, not just the emotional side of it, but within yourself.
When I first heard the words autism, I didn't know what the word meant, but when I heard the word special needs, I knew I understood that part of it, but I had never heard the words of autism before. I heard of Down syndrome. I heard of, various other words that children had been diagnosed with. So the word autism was new, but special needs wasn't new. So for me, I I felt a sense of grief because I saw it in different facets. I saw where children couldn't speak. I saw where they were bedridden. I saw where they were not able to do certain things for themselves. So I didn't know what it was going to entail for me, but I knew that I was going to be able to make it, regardless of what it was. I knew that God was going to give us what we needed to take care of him. So I felt grief. I felt like, you know, why me? But then I felt like why not me? So I had a lot of mixed emotions, but beyond the emotions, when I was able to process it, I was able to um, get beyond that moment. But the moment was a sting, Dr. Juanita. To be honest, it was a sting. It was a gut kick. But I knew that I, I could make it. We could make it. My husband and I, we could make it. So, you know, I was like,
By
okay.
you, the words that you use, grief, sting, gut kick,
Uh-huh.
those are powerful words. They really dive deep. At
Mm-hmm.
any point, did you feel like there was something wrong with you as a woman bringing Joseph into this world?
Well, the doctors told me many years ago that I would never carry a baby full term, that I would never give birth or I would never have a baby. So I that had been told to me before. I had miscarried multiple times. I want to say 3 times, but MUSC was able to figure out what needed to be done. They did it with my daughter Miracle, but then the amniotic sac was punctured, so I lost her. Um, Funeralized her, and then 6 months later, I was pregnant with Joseph and was immediately put on bed rest once the cerclage was in place. So I I want to say um I felt like, what in the world, but we made it. We made it. We made it. When I was in that labor in the living room and my dad was holding my hands, and when I heard him cry, because for a minute the doctors had to work on him, and my husband, they moved with him, my husband, when they took him over and put him under the light, and my husband moved. When they moved with him, my husband moved with him. Because he shot out like a football. My dad said, but when when they moved with Joseph, my husband moved. So when I finally heard him cry, oh my God, It was a sound like music to my ears. And I'll never forget the lady, it's a lady that walked in the room that wasn't in the birthing room. And she sounded just like my mother's voice, Dr. Juanita. And she said, "You're pushing wrong.
Mm.
Push down like you got to go to the restroom." She said, "Push down, daughter, like you got to go to the restroom." And she sounded like my mother. And she left the room. She wasn't even in the room. She said she was out in the hallway, but I had to find that lady before I left the hospital. But all I can tell you is Joseph is a miracle and he is a genius. That's all I can tell
Yeah.
you, Juanita. That's all I can say. That's all I can say. That's all I can say. He was, oh my goodness. It was an experience. That's why
Mm.
I say everybody can't be in your delivery room, but God sent her in the room to get me together.
Amen. Amen. And I think you kind of touched on our number three question, because
Uh-huh.
that still falls into the category of what you share with the grief, the
Uh-huh.
sting, and the gut kick
Uh-huh.
of your wound. Um, because you also shared during our pre-interview that what that your days began to look like you were tired, and that you tried to meet this his needs. Excuse me, let me go back. I apologize for that. What
Okay.
did your days begin to look like as you tried to meet Joseph's needs and hold everything together?
The days after the diagnosis or prior to the diagnosis,
Following the diagnosis, what did your days begin to
they
look like as you tried
they
to meet
were
his needs?
we had numerous doctor's appointments. We was the MUSC quite frequently. There was numerous doctor's appointments. There was numerous assessments. There were numerous, um, just constant assessments. Checking various things, checking his hearing, checking his sight. A lot of pediatric appointments. They got an department called developmental P, so they was checking his development, his growth. A lot of things that pertain to him and the diagnosis. And for me, the care was intensive, but I didn't work the first 3 years of his life until he went to school on his third birthday. I didn't work. So I got to enjoy that. I got to see his first steps. I think he started walking at 10 months. So I got to embody all of that. And when I tell you it was a beautiful journey, I didn't miss it. I got to breastfeed him. I mean, everything. So it was the care was it was demanding. It was um it was a lot of hands-on. It was a lot of direct care. I want to say his daddy probably had him more than me. He would not he would sleep with him on his chest. He would literally sleep in the recliner with him on his chest. I mean, he was a very excellent father. But it was a lot of care, but he was a good baby. He slept. He was not, you wouldn't have known other than what they told us about him being diagnosed. He was a typical child. He really didn't give us a whole lot of uh, issues. He didn't cry a lot. He wasn't really fussy a lot. Any of that. It wasn't, other than knowing and seeing little things that he did, like on his toes and stuff like that, you would have not known until he got to that 2.5 and that 3 mark. Then we would see certain things that would define that they were, the delays of the speaking or the words or the, different things that they supposed to do based on statistics. That's when you could see some of the delay actually happening. Yes, ma'am.
How did you address that when you began to notice those delays? Did you, what were those first thoughts, the first questions you might have asked, not just the physicians, but yourself, your husband? What was that conversation like? Can you take us into maybe a moment in time of what your conversation centered on?
Um, for me, I would just get like,
Oh no. Something happened. And so we're going to wait for Dr. Bailey to come back, because right now she is just giving us a very intense discussion on autism awareness. And so while we are waiting for her to jump back on, um, as you know, April is Autism Awareness Month, and so um, I want to just break down, and my head is going down on here because I'm pulling up some statistics. I want to break down the statistics on autism in the U.S. So I want to pull that up, and so we're going to inject that in. I see that she has been able to come back, so I'm gonna inject those statistics in um, while she's coming up. And so, hold on, I'm going to bring her back up. But as she's coming on, let's break down the statistics of what that looked like. As of April of 2025, approximately 1 in 31 children, that's 3.2% in the United States, have been identified with autism spectrum disorder. This reflects a significant increase from 1.36, which was at 2.7%, and that was reported in 2003. Expert attributes the rise in the numbers to improved awareness, broader diagnostic criterias, and better screening in historically underserved areas. And so, going back, since going back to this, I want Dr. Bailey to kind of continue, or not too kind, but I want her to go back and just reflect on that previous question that we asked, because what I want her to share is that inner feeling, that inner moment, of here, of understanding that there was forms of delay that Joseph had. And, we all have these little mental thoughts. And so that's the part that I'm asking her to bring out. Dr. Bailey, sorry for the glitch, but thank you so much for being back with us. Can you
yes,
answer that
ma'am.
question for me?
I think for me, I started just doing my own research. And when you get these books and how, they supposed to be doing this at 6 months, 3 months, 4 months, 12 months. I kind of started, doing my own research. And when I knew it was certain things that he should have been doing at those particular months, 12 months, 24 months, 36 months, then I just kind of started working with him myself. And it was certain things that I would try to get him to do. And if he couldn't do it, then because I was a stay-at-home mom those first 3 years, I would just work with him myself. And then eventually it was certain things that he would do. And then it's certain things that was a little bit more challenging for him. So those things that I noticed that was a little bit more challenging for him, I would just work with him on those particular things. And then I would go to the pediatrician or developmental P's at MUSC, and I would say, hey, he's not doing this or he's doing this, because they had like multiple assessments. When I tell you assessments, they had assessments yay high. And I was just able to give them detailed information of what he could do and what he couldn't do. And as we as a team would just work together to be able to help him to work on those areas. And with the program at the school district in which we attended in the area in which I live, that was how he was able to start school at 3. And then he was in special needs class 3 and 4. And by the time he got the first grade, honey, I had an amazing teacher, and she's retired now. We still communicate on Facebook, but she saw his potential, and he got into a regular first grade class. and he's been excelling ever since. Ever since, he is absolutely. When I tell you, my son is a genius. He's a genius, and he's doing excelling. He's doing amazing. He's doing amazing. We've had to do a lot of advocacy, but we'll hit that. We'll hit
Well,
that
no,
down the road.
no, because that's actually where I'm going, Dr. Bailey, because
Okay.
what the word that I put down was you, even though the diagnosis came, even though you
Uh huh.
were, the steps that you knew that you were being advised by the physicians, you went beyond that. You became proactive. You
Yes,
became a
ma'am.
proactive. And to me, what that says about you and the platform that are creating,
Hmm.
it is truly helping parents that come to you
Yes,
who
ma'am.
don't know, who either have had this diagnosis or who are presently receiving this diagnosis. It's helping you to be equipped to help them to navigate the pathway they have to take it. Would you say?
Yes, ma'am. Very much so. And it's not a book knowledge. It's lived experience. When you said that I was a subject matter expert, I was like, yeah, Dr. Juanita, I am a highly subject matter expert. I
Highly,
had to I had to
absolutely.
I had to embody that. But when you broke it down to me, I was like, yes, ma'am, you're absolutely correct, because it's a lived experience that I have embodied. And when I look back at all of the jobs and all of the experience that I had, I was like, yes, ma'am, you're absolutely correct. Because when he got in the first grade class, he was just excelling so much. And I mean, every year he's just evolved and evolved and evolved. And now he's in the 11th grade. He'll be a senior next year. And we're on a college diploma track and headed towards college, and he's already decided the college that he's wanting to go to. We went to an event yesterday in Columbia, the summit, the Autism Summit. And it's just so many resources that we can get our hands on, that will empower us to be able to get what our children need, so that they can go beyond just getting a trade or a job. And we just have to be willing to advocate for them, so that they can be set up for the best success. And I mean, yes, some of them may have to be on a certificate track, and then some of them may be able to do the diploma track. But we have to be willing to be their biggest advocate, so that they can get the resources they need, because there are accommodations that can be put in place for them. But we have to ask. Some people are not going to willingly just give you the information, but if you inquire and ask for the information, they will give you the information, so that you are able to advocate for your children to get them the resources that they need. So I'm telling you, this has been a journey. It has not been easy. My name is very well known within the school district that I live in. And, I'm okay with that, because believe that my son deserved the best education possible. And I want other people to be able to understand that the state of South Carolina is required to give our children the best resources possible. It's a non-negotiable, and it's required. They are required to do certain things, and it shouldn't be that we have to fight tooth and nail for them to comply. It shouldn't depend on their bottom line. Whether it's red, whether it's black, whether it's green, it shouldn't matter. Our children should get the resources that they need. If it was their children, they would make sure that the resources are available. That means an iPad, that means a communication board, that means a hearing aid, that means glasses, you know, whatever the needs are. And there's some things that, our the Teflon Medicaid covers, but it's some things that parents just don't know. Be willing to communicate and ask for what it is that you need if you don't know. And if you know the information, tell people what you know. Help the people. You would want somebody to help you. Just Just help. Just be kind. Help other people. I didn't
April
mean to go
is
on. I don't mean to go on a tangent, but I just.
no, you shared this. That is, to me, that is very important. Parents need to know that. And this is
Mhm,
what makes you, your company, your organization so
mhm,
important.
mhm,
Parents need to know who you are. They need to know what makes you someone that they can depend on, someone who will give them sound
mhm.
advice. And
Yes.
not just give them sound advice, but even the necessary steps that they
Mhm.
can take in order to be that advocate, because you don't roll out of bed one day and be an advocate. You know there's a need, and majority of the time, everyone that's listening to this segment, Dr. Bailey, they're like, okay, what do I do? How do I do it?
Mhm.
I who, as a mom, I'm a grandmother now, but
Mhm.
I also look at my children, and my grandson. It was actually one of my grandsons came back and was looking at the last one and saying, "Well, is he, does he have autism? Is he, does he have ADHD?" Because of and it made us pause. And I
Mhm.
started, because I've had conversations with you, guess what? I knew things to look for.
Mhm.
And I am a little bit, not better, but I'm a little bit equipped in certain areas
Mhm.
that I normally wouldn't. If you talk to me about
Yes,
the
ma'am.
brain, you and I can talk all day. But outside of the brain, I need
Mhm.
help. And I'm a firm believer in not trying to carry something that I'm not equipped to carry. I would
Yes,
come to
ma'am.
you. And so, personally, I want to say thank you. Thank you for creating this platform. Thank you for um, helping parents
Mhm.
to understand what is taking place, because I know that what you are creating is going to go far. So thank you so much for that.
Yes, ma'am. And thank you for helping me understand and see who I really am. Who I really am, because for so long, I I how do I say this? I I know I was different. I know I was unique. I knew I was very distinct and very unusual, but sometimes you don't really understand the magnitude of who you are. And sometimes when other people are intimidated by who you are, they want to put you in a different category. But you have helped me to embrace and embody who I am, and I want to thank you for that. I want to thank God for putting you in my life when He did, because for so long, I know that God has been wanting me to do this for so long, and I have been disobedient. When I say disobedient, to the point of not wanting to walk into this, and that has held so many other families up. That is not help other children um, get the resources that they need, because this is just not something you wake up and want to do. You might understand families, you might can sympathize with them, but unless you have a child and live and walk and breathe this every day, you have no idea what our lives feel like, because you may see us, you may assist us, but unless you live this, you really don't have an idea. You might have a smidget of what we deal with, but you really don't know our ins and outs of our lives every day. This is not something that people really understand to the magnitude that we do, unless you have a child that is your own, that you are responsible for, that God has entrusted to you. So for me, it's personal. It is really personal. I looked at my son this morning and I wanted to take a picture of him. And he was like, Mommy, pictures again, but he just doesn't understand where we have come from. And his dad, he let his dad take the picture. But if he understood where we have come from as a family, I mean, the tears just was rolling down my cheek, but I didn't let him see the tears. And I said, I love you. And his dad began to pray over him. And I just anointed his forehead, his hands. I said, young man, you don't understand where you going.
Mhm.
He said, yeah, mommy, I know I'm going great places. I said, yes, you got greatness all up in and through you, young man. So it was just a moment for our family. So I'm just so grateful. I'm so grateful for what the Lord, it's not us, it's for what the Lord has done. It's for what the Lord has done. It's not me, it's not my husband, but it's what the Lord has done. And sometimes people don't understand that. For you to be asked to step out of church, for you to be asked to step out of a place of a business because your child is making noise, that's a painful experience. But people don't really realize and they don't understand it. But at the end of the day, sometimes that could be the very experience that's a breaking point for a person. Those are places that we should be accepted if no place else. So I'm just here to tell you, whatever the diagnosis is, whatever your child is dealing with, to know that you can live beyond the diagnosis. But you're gonna have to be willing to go biggest advocate. I will say that until there's not a breath in my body. And some parents just wait on the mailman. But I've never gotten a check. I've never gotten a. He's never had a medicine in his body. And somebody asked me the other day, "You never given him any medicine?" And she just was looking at me, shaking her head. I said, "He's never had a medicine in his body, other than something like for cold and flu, like when like that when that time of year come around. Never. I was an advocate about that."
Right. Thank you so much for sharing the depths of your journey. April is Autism Awareness Month, and presently now you are hearing Dr. Sonya Wilson-Bailey, autism advocate and parent liaison, and founder of Whole Women in Progress. She's sharing from our topic, When Love Feels Like Losing Yourself. Taken from that topic, Dr. Bailey, I want to ask you to describe how love felt like you were losing yourself. How did love feel like you were losing yourself?
When I had to sacrifice myself for others, caring for my son, caring for my sister-in-law that's been in our care since my mother-in-law passed away. About 15 years she's lived with us. My dad that now is 80, that requires another level of care. I do feel like at times that I'm losing myself. But you know what? God is helping me find myself because that requires me taking care of myself, putting the oxygen mask on me before before I take care of them. That means me going to the gym. That means me having quiet time for myself. That means me doing what I need to do to resuscitate me and take care of me before I can take care of somebody else.
Let me pull off of that because so many women, men, all of us, even our children, we don't take a pause to care for ourselves. We don't even understand what that looks like or what that, our body and our mind is in go mode. Like there's a need, we got to fix it, put on that cape and keep it moving. What does caring for you, just describing what you just did, why is that so important? What does that look like? We got to take a pen and pause it right there. It appears that there is another technical issue that is pausing in there. I'm going to answer that question. And the reason why I said this is because I paused in that moment because so many times as a caregiver, as a woman, as a male, we're more so focused on our responsibilities versus taking care of our internal health. Your body, your mind, things may be going on that that you need to do. And unfortunately, we don't think about what is going on with us. We don't think about what the body is saying when the body is saying, hey, you need to get some fresh air. Hey, you need to go exercise. Hey, you need to monitor, eating, and even down to, hey, you might need therapy. So the body is doing some things. And so now that Dr. Bailey's back, I want her to answer that question, because we put a pin right there, Dr. Bailey, as you start talking about your, taking care of yourself, as you start talking about, what you did for you because you needed it. Explain to those that are listening, why is that so important? Why do we need to take care of our own personal health, our own personal mental health, um, as we are going through this journey?
Your mental health is vital. Your soul care, your self care is vital. We cannot effectively take care of anybody else unless we take care of ourselves first. Autism moms, autism dads, anybody that is looking at this live in Canada, in Jamaica, in Japan, wherever you are, you cannot effectively take care of anyone else unless you take care of yourself. And I'm here to tell you, no is a complete sentence. I cannot do it today. I will get back to you is a complete sentence. I'm telling you, since I have been doing that over the last 2 to 3 years, my life has been at peace. At peace.
That's the key word. That's the key word.
At peace. No, I cannot come. No, I do not. No, thank you. I appreciate the invite, but no, no, thank you. And sometimes you have to decide that some people's emergency is not your priority. It's just not. And it's okay if you don't invite me again. That's fine. Whatever means necessary. I I implore you to take care of your mental health. Women, the number one killer, the number one is heart disease.
Mm-hmm.
Take care of yourself. We are the
Absolutely.
primary caregivers of our homes. Our husbands or our spouses are the breadwinners. We work. Some of us make, more money. Not That's not to diminish the man. Not at all, men. But ladies, we have to take care of ourselves. We
Absolutely.
have to take care of ourselves. Take care of you. Take care of you. A mental health day is okay. The laundry tomorrow is okay. The bathroom getting clean tomorrow is okay. Work together as a team. Me and my husband tag team stuff in this house. And it's okay if it don't get done.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, it's all right. We'll do it later. We'll do it tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
Your mental health is vitally important. And I'm telling you, I am in a place that I've never been in my life. And I'm okay with it. And my circle is getting really small, Dr. Juanita. And guess what? It is okay. I love my company. I thought I could not go to lunch by myself. I thought I could not shop by myself. But guess what? My card swipes by myself.
Absolutely.
Yes,
Um,
ma'am.
I want to share with those that are viewing today's episode segment, that we have a workbook that you can use. You can It's a downloadable personal assessment workbook, and it is inspired by Dr. Bailey. Her story, her journey. This will help you. This workbook or worksheet will help you to be able to assess your own self, help you to be able to see what you may be dealing with. I encourage you to go on payhip.com and click on Elevation in Action and go to Dr. Sonya Wilson-Bailey's worksheet. A portion of those proceeds does support Rediscover Me, which is a nonprofit organization, our nonprofit organization. So again, Dr. Bailey, thank you so much. I want to move forward with just a couple of more questions for you. And so you mentioned that about, the loss of your mom, a loss of Miracle, your daughter, being a caregiver to your sister-in-law, to your dad presently now, along with advocating and supporting Joseph and all that he is, along with, I had to take a deep breath, along with being able to show up as a wife, that's really intense. Um, in the midst of you experiencing deep loss, how did grief and caregiving intersect? How did you know to what you needed for yourself?
For a long time, Dr. Juanita, I didn't know what I needed for myself. To be honest, I didn't know what I needed for myself. I was grieving for a long time. I battled grief for and depression, I know, off and on for about 10 years. I was functioning. I was, how they say some people are functionable addicts. I was functioning in grief. I was working. I was doing life, but I was just functioning. And there's so many people that are doing that. It is so many people. I can be in a room with them now because God is, given me an ability, a spiritual gift to really be able to discern and see stuff. And
Hmm.
people are doing it all day long. They're massing it, they're dressing it up, they're making it up, and they're going through the motions. And sometimes he allowed me to see it, to really go into prayer for them. And I don't have to tell them that I'm praying for them, but they are literally going through the motions. They're traveling over it. They're shopping over it. They're whoring over it. They just are out here just making people try. They thinking they're fooling other people, but some people that are in that arena or operating in that gift, they're not. But they really are just trying to mask the pain, but they're really causing more detriment on themselves and their bodies and their mental state, really, because they really are not happy. They're just masking the pain, and they
Hmm.
really need to get to a licensed professional. If their pastor is not a licensed therapist, they need to call you. They need to pick up the phone and call you, because you specialize in the brain and you deal with trauma of the brain. And I'm just gonna give you that plug because, honey, you are the person.
Thank you so much, because that was about to be my next question,
Yes,
asking you,
yes. I'm gonna go ahead on and give them you for free. But you are not for free.
yes,
You are not
absolute.
for
Thank
free.
you. Thank you
But
so much for that.
you specialize in brain trauma.
Hmm.
And when you got compound trauma, like you told me, when you got compound trauma, it is something that you have to unlayer over time. And sometimes, what happened when we were 6, 7, 8, 10, 12. I don't care how deep, I don't care how long you be in a thing, you cannot sex it away, you cannot drink it away, you cannot drug it away, you cannot preach it away, you cannot none of those things are going to uh, make it go away. You can't shout it away. You can't do none of those things in a way. You have to deal with the trauma. You have to deal with it. And I highly recommend that they see a licensed professional that's above the pay grade of their pastor, unless their pastor is a licensed therapist or psychologist. And it's okay. Therapy and Jesus is okay. Some of our leaders need to lay down or get on the Zoom, whatever it is, and just don't bleed on the people no more. Just come on in the room and get the help that they need, so that we can just be better leaders, be better people. Um, but I do believe that that is vitally important, because it takes our lives to other dimensions in doing our kingdom assignment. because there are lives that are entrusted to us. There are lives that are called to my voice. There are lives that are called to your voice. And once I was able to deal with the grief of the loss of my mother in law, my daughter, just all of the things that I had encountered in my life, um, being molested, all of the things, it has just allowed me to just go to the next dimension in God. Where I can't even tell you where I'm at in the dimensional realm. Where I'm sitting at right now is not where I'm at in the spirit.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely.
I'm sitting here talking to you, but in the spiritual realm, I can't even see how high I'm at in Him. But it
Absolutely.
required me doing a lot of work on myself, and I just cannot sit in certain places anymore. I cannot. I just can't do it. My spirit won't let me do it. My spirit, it's almost like my spirit just, it's almost like I just get into a, ooh, it's
Yes.
almost like I'm in a war when I'm in certain places. It's like, oh God, it's like my body start twitching and jumping.
Absolutely.
No one
Well,
let me. I gotta get out of
well, Dr. Bailey, before we prepare to close out,
here.
I want us to talk a little bit more about Joseph. You started describing Joseph when you
Uh-huh.
hear, and you shared about your husband
Uh-huh.
praying, anointing and praying over him, and
Uh-huh.
how he's affirming that he's going to be great. And
Uh-huh.
can you give us a little snippet more about Joseph the King? I'm going to say the King,
Okay.
guys.
The king. All
That's
right.
what I
Yes,
tell my
the king. He is
grandmisters.
the
I call
king
them
of
the
kings.
King.
Yes. He is just oh my God, just to see who he's becoming is this vast, Dr. Juanita. It's vast. I just see him doing great things. I see him doing great exploits. He loves music. He's playing the drums. I mean, he is this. I see him writing books. I see him drawing. I see people buying his drawings. I see him drumming in rooms full of people. I see him writing books. I see him, just creating games. He loved games. I see him creating games for other kids to play. I just see his life being vast. I
Mhm,
see
mhm.
him not having to toil for stuff. I see God just blessing him. I just see the favor of God all up and in and through his life. I just see, he always desire friends. He
Mhm.
always desire, having friends. And the other night I heard him in the room talking. And I was like, "Who are you talking to?" He says, "Mommy, I'm just practicing so I can know how to talk to my friends." I said, "Yeah, just continue to talk." I said, because God gonna put you in a room where you're gonna have to talk to many people, and it's not gonna just be your friends, it's gonna be your business partners, it's gonna be people that God is gonna place in your life that you gonna have to talk to, and you're gonna have to guide them through many things. Because
Mhm.
at first I wanted to tell him to stop talking to himself. And the Holy Spirit said, no, he's preparing himself for the great conversations that he's going to have with other people. So I had to correct myself, but then I started interceding because he's always by himself unless he's with us. So I'm just like, Lord, just send people his way that means him well, that he can converse with and really have relationships with. So I'm just believing God that I'm going to be the person that's going to be that trailblazer to start community, because when you think about it, it's certain things that when they age out of camp, it's really not a whole lot for our youth. So I'm not going to look for something. You know me, right?
Mhm. Yes, I do.
Okay, all right,
Yes,
all
I
right.
do.
I don't have to say. Hey, I don't have to say no more.
You don't. No, you don't. So, before we finish, let me ask you a question.
Uh-huh,
I want to ask you to speak to the heart of the woman who may be on the journey that you're on, that
uh-huh.
you've had to walk, rather, as well as those that may be feeling overwhelmed, unseen, and afraid that they may be disappearing. What would you share with that particular individual?
If you feel unseen and you're on this journey and you're feeling overwhelmed, know that you are seen, you're not overwhelmed, and that you are not alone. That I am here, that other people are here wherever you are, and that I am just a touch away. My name is Dr. Sonya Wilson-Bailey. You can reach out to me on all social media platforms and just know that you can make it. You can live beyond the diagnosis, whatever they said about your child, that you can make it, that this is not, that you are not the diagnosis, that your child is not the diagnosis, that you can make it. Just know that you are seen, that you are heard, that the resources are there, that you matter, that your child matters, and that this is not the end, that this is just the beginning. Your child is amazing, you are amazing, and that you can get through this. Don't give up on your child. Don't give up on yourself. Don't give up on neither one of y'all, to know that your family can get through this. Know that it is not going to consume you. Just breathe, just breathe, just breathe. God has got you. If you don't have a personal relationship with Him, just know that it's okay, sweetheart. You can make it. Just pick up the phone, just shoot me a text, and just know that I am here for you and that you can live beyond the diagnosis. You can live beyond the diagnosis. I'm not telling you something that somebody told me. I'm telling you something that I have lived, and that I am here for you, and that I can help you navigate through this journey. Just pick up the phone, shoot me a text, or give me a call, and let's navigate through this journey together. You can
Dr.
make
Bailey, thank you so much for that advice for all of our women that are watching, for the fathers. You're not left out.
You're
Um,
not left out. We got you too,
we
guys. We
got you.
got you.
Dr. Bailey got you as well. She will definitely support you in this journey.
Mhm.
So I want to bring Brittany. Say hello to Brittany. Brittany
Hi.
is not Brittany is our assistant, and Brittany comes in to help us to better understand elevation in action. Brittany, the brain. And so, with Brittany, what are we thinking? What are we looking at? At based on everything that Dr. Bailey has shared with us. Number one thing that I want you to understand is that when the brain learns to survive but forgets you, that's something the brain does. You heard Dr. Bailey talk about, the steps that she was taking, all the things, the people she conversed with, the doctors, the diagnosis, and going through the grief, going through all of that. Guess what? Her brain was adapting in that space. Her brain was going through a process of survivorship, right? So, the first thing I want you to be aware of is that when a caregiver is under constant pressure, the brain adapts. And that's the part that happens. So, what does that look like? It adapts by shifting into survival mode, meaning that it prioritizes the child, the need, and the urgency. The child, the need, and the urgency. Therefore, over time, it quietly deprioritizes itself, meaning as you heard Dr. Bailey said, she had to start giving back to herself because her brain had prioritized everyone else around her and not taking a look at the things that she needs. So that's one of the biggest things. In a nutshell, the brain goes as it's in that adaptive mode, it began to see everybody else but itself, but Dr. Bailey. Okay.
But
And
me.
so that's not a bad thing. It's just unfortunately, it causes us to forget who we are. So that's where that work comes into play. So when the work come into play, um, it meant that she was in a state of worrying, constantly worrying about Joseph's future, what that was going to look like. And you kind of heard a little snippet of that kind of being inflexed inside of the conversation. Um, Feeling like she can't rest. She didn't say that, but I know that was part of it. In that state of rest, her brain wasn't at rest. Her body wasn't at rest. She was on high alert.
High
For
alert all the
yeah,
time.
yeah, high alert. And so
Helicopter mom.
yeah, a helicopter mom. That's it. Because and then guess what that meant? She lost connections, interconnections with herself. So what did she need to do? What did she need to do to get back with herself? She had to first, number one, learn how to
Yes.
recenter herself. Recenter herself. Biggest thing, and she talked about it, talking about the grief, naming the problem, naming the things that she felt with, like such as the sting, getting kicked in the gut. What was that like? She identified them by using terminology that explained the pain or the overwhelmingness or where her mind was at. um, Finding safe spaces, safe spaces, and those that can support her. She had to have a community. And I'm certain that was something she and her husband navigated very well together. And she had to also, above all things, go back to reconnecting with parts of her body and her mind that she had disconnected from. So, your brain did not, her brain did not, nor will your brain did not, um, it did what it needed to do. Let me rephrase that. Your brain, her brain, it did what it needed to do to survive. And so it might have meant that she prioritized things in a way that supported the need base. And so now that she's in this healing state, she's actually readjusting and making assessments for where she should be a part of that. So in closing, I want you to understand that if anything in today's conversation touched you in a place, um, you don't have to push it away. You don't have you can sit with it, pray through it, as well as, above all things, breathe through it. And remind yourself that I am still here. Even if I've been quiet, I am still here. Thank you so much for joining us. Um, thank you so much for joining us and being present with us in this conversation, not just as a listener, but as people who carry real stories. If this spoke to you, share it with someone who may have not, who may not have the words yet, but need to feel seen. This is mental elevation in action, where healing is not rushed and your story still matters. Thank you.